as much details as I can immediately and transparently without affecting the investigation. This is what we do know so far. Just before 7 a.m., we received a call from this residence right behind me on 11th Terrace in reference to a shooting. Our deputies almost immediately respond and arrive on scene within minutes. Within minutes, we locate two suspects that were decedents, along with two other suspects that had serious injuries. A female had a gunshot wound to the face, and a male with blunt force trauma to his head and facial area. Our deputies immediately established a perimeter. As the details unfold, a 45-year-old, our suspect, Johanna Lazari, arrived at the residence wearing a ski mask and opening fire inside that residence. Johanna then started an altercation with a female inside that residence. While inside the residence, again, multiple shots being fired, he killed another male and elderly female inside, shooting another woman in the face. So we have multiple shots being fired. We have two that are confirmed deceased at this point in time, and two others that have serious injuries. Inside that residence, he was confronted by another male who was able to overcome the suspect and subdue him. The female inside that had two children, she ran and called 911, and thank God the children were safe inside that residence. The one female that's injured is undergoing surgery as we speak, unknown what her status is. Our suspect, Johanna, was transported to a local area hospital undergoing treatment, unknown what his status is. Our major crimes detectives and crime scene personnel immediately began working this scene, and we won't rest until every single detail is figured out. This is what we do know. This is some type of domestic incident. There were legal issues going on between a domestic relationship, husband, wife, whatever their status might be. We're not certain, but it is domestic between the two of them. Those details are being worked out. I want to also tell you that during our investigation, as it's unfolding, it's a complex investigation, but we have language barriers. So we are working right now with witnesses to get information, again, with a language barrier. But no, it's a domestic related incident. The relationship between all parties in this house is unknown at this time. What is known is that our suspect, Johanna, and his significant other was in that residence. I want to stress that this is an isolated incident. There's no immediate danger to the public. My team will get to the bottom of this. And most importantly, with all these cases, my heart goes out to the victims and their families. This is a complex investigation. We want to bring you as much information as we can immediately. It's unfolding as we speak. As we get through this process and we get more information, we will bring that information to you immediately. I will take limited questions, things that won't involve or alter or affect our investigation.
So it sounds like you have the shooter. I was speaking with a few neighbors. They are uncomfortable. They're scared that they saw this many deputies today. Can you talk more about how this is isolated?
Of course.
So a little more safe?
Obviously, if you lived in this area or if you were driving through and you see this law enforcement presence and media, it's going to be alarming, and that's the way it is. So I want to stress to the residents in this area, this is an isolated domestic incident. It's extremely unfortunate, but this is an isolated incident, and our suspect, okay, is technically in custody at a hospital being treated. So there is no more any danger to the public. This is isolated. They can rest well. No, my whole team is out here working as we speak. I don't know the exact history in the past, but I did have some dialogue with one of my deputies who recalls this house as being an issue, but unrelated to this domestic violence.
The crime scene expands over another block. Was there anything that these homes were involved in or any?
So when we have a chance to immediately go on scene, our crime scene has to be much larger than the scene itself, because again, we don't know exactly what we're looking at. We get one chance to create that crime scene and maintain it. Every detail counts in an investigation, let alone a homicide investigation. So the large crime scene is because until we can narrow it down, We start huge and we narrow it down as the investigation goes. We can't go backwards, we can only go forwards.
Sheriff, I want to clarify, how many people suffered gunshot wounds? How many people were injured? I know you said 2 people were unfortunately.
So right now at this time, unfortunately, we have 2 that are deceased from gunshot wounds. We have 2 that are undergoing medical attention right now, which one I believe is another gunshot wound, unknown status. It was going to be to the facial area. And then our suspect did not have a gunshot wound at this point in time, but the physical altercation is what's putting him into the hospital to be treated. Unknown how bad that is. But the suspect is alive. 1 woman is transported, and we have 2 officially deceased inside that residence.
Was the arrest of the suspect peaceful?
Well, when we arrived on scene, there was, he was in poor health, so he needed medical attention. So there was no physical arrest right there other than taking him into custody and immediately getting him medical attention, as we would do for anyone.
Do we know where the kids are at this time?
At this present time, I can tell you the 2 children that were inside that residence are safe, thank God. Because that one male subject was able to overcome and overpower the shooter, the woman and her 2 children were able to escape and, thank God, get to safety. So this could have been a lot worse. I will tell you that there are multiple shots inside that residence. This is an extensive crime scene. This is not something that gets wrapped up quickly. As we get more details, we will tell you immediately as we can. Again, there's a language barrier, so our investigation, our detectives are speaking, to get through that language barrier, to get details as to all what happened here. But it is a very, very extensive scene. It's contained, it's isolated. There's no danger to the public. So if you can get that message out to the public here that this is a very isolated incident and they're safe, that's most important. And it's very unfortunate, we come and deliver messages like this. These are human beings, these are people, and my thoughts are with their family members. I'm also very, very proud of the Lee County Sheriff's Office, my family members who were out here, if not seconds or minutes, on scene, containing that scene and making sure people are safe. So again, our team is out here in full force. Our major crime unit, our crime scene unit, we're scanning with the latest and greatest technology the crime scene as we speak. We're analyzing, we're gathering facts and details, but I want to get you information as soon as possible. Any other questions?
Just to clarify, it's that house with the flag, right?
Yes, ma'am. So that residence is going to be 2253 11 Terrace. 2253 11 Terrace. Did you have another question?
The language barrier, they speak Spanish, right? So they're Spanish.
I'm assuming it is. I don't know exactly, but I can tell you I was told there's a language barrier. So our detectives are working with translators to get the information that's pertinent to this investigation and communicate so we can find out every single detail, be thorough with our investigation, and then transparently bring those details back to you.
The person who confronted the shooter, how are they doing? I mean, that's a traumatic experience. Are they okay?
I can tell you the person that, and again, I'm getting this information after the fact, but that person confronted an armed suspect who has proven they're going to kill. I don't know the status of him. I know he's speaking to our detectives as we speak, but I do know that his injuries were, if not nothing, very little, and he's cooperating and speaking to us and giving us details that we need. But in actuality, his confrontation and overcoming that gunman, that suspect, probably saved lives because those kids were able to exit this residence. Who knows if the shooter would have continued on his path of destruction. Yes, ma'am. Our suspect came into that residence with a ski mask. He was armed, ready to go, pulling the trigger. The unarmed man inside that residence was able to physically overcome the suspect and stop the shooting, which is most importantly. Give us time. As this unfolds, we will keep bringing you information. I wanted to get you information as soon as possible. Most importantly, understand we're in full force here, leaving no stone unturned, and the residents of this county, first and foremost, are safe. And no one deserves this. Nobody deserves this. We're not going to tolerate this behavior. It's a domestic, isolated incident. Thank you for your time.